With only seconds left, will Blue Falcon and Dog Wonder be able to prevent Big City from becoming Bog City? Or will our heroes and their friends go to the Great Falcon Lair in the sky?
Find out on that Groovy Scoobcast, your go-to audio hub for all things Scooby-Doo. Welcome back, guys. My name is Derek.
And I'm Shannon.
And today we are going to be talking about the Wizard of Ooze from the Dynomutt Dog Wonder TV series. This is our special topics episode, in this case being a crossover with the Scooby Gang. Shannon, what were your overall thoughts on this episode?
My overall question is, why was it called the Wizard of Ooze?
It's a very good question, I think. There were no wizards, and there was no ooze.
No ooze.
I felt like this was false advertising.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Blue Falcon and Dynomutt. I do. And this did not impress me. I was honestly more excited going into this than I felt as we finished this.
I mean, like, the gang really didn't have any push on the episode.
Yeah. Like, I really feel like, if anything, maybe Scooby and Shaggy were fine, but I don't think the rest of the gang needed to be there.
No.
And overall, the episode was just stupid, but
That's something so separate. Not impressed.
yeah. Before we start talking about this episode in full, though, we will kick off the Mystery Machine Match, our weekly trivia competition where Shannon and I try to figure out which one of us knows Scooby-Doo better than the other. Currently, I have 29 points from last week, while Shannon has 25.
So, you know what that means, Derek? It means that I have to get every single one of these for the next 2 episodes right, and you have to get all of them wrong.
If you want to win.
It's unlikely, but plausible.
Well, as always, Shannon, you can kick off our questions today.
In Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, what is the actual name of the island that the gang visits? Moonscar or Devil Ray?
They go to Moonscar Island.
Yes.
Here's your first question. What country is Shaggy's ancestral home located in? Germany or Austria?
Germany?
It was Austria. I don't remember when that was actually said, but
For some reason, I was thinking Scotland, and then when you didn't say it, I was like, well, fuck.
Daphne's from Scotland.
Okay, that's probably where I got that then.
Yeah.
Raja Gosnell, who directed the Scooby-Doo movie, also directed a film called Big Mama's Blank.
Home? Big Mama's home? Is that correct?
It's Big Mama's house.
No. I will forfeit that point. Here's your next question. What alternative band sang the Scooby-Doo theme song in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island? Matchbox 20 or Third Eye Blind?
Matchbox?
It was Third Eye Blind.
I'm not good at this. I don't know bands.
Yeah, I usually don't really look into them either. I don't know. What's your last question for me?
Finish the title of this episode that features Shaggy's 1959 Starfire special. A bicycle built for blank.
Boo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's from A Punishment of Scooby-Doo, I think. Finish the name of the episode in which Scooby-Doo is included in a millionaire's will. A night of fright makes me uptight or is no delight?
No delight.
I figured you would know because you like that episode.
I love that episode.
Yeah. Well, it looks like today I gained 2 points. Shannon only gained 1, bringing our totals to 31 and 26.
Yay.
I think it's safe to say I've won the Mystery Machine match this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll still do it 2 episodes from now, but
Woo-hoo.
yay. Well, that was this week's Mystery Machine match. You ready to move on to the Wizard of Ooze?
I guess.
Let's get this over with. Our premise for the episode is coming from Scoobypedia today. Swamp Rat and Mudmouth pump half of Bogmire Swamp into Big City, creating chaos. That is a lot of fucking water if they are only pumping half of the swamp into that city.
Well, that's why I said,
Given how much water we saw in Big City as a result of their actions.
My thought was, too, because, like, that swamp had to be so big because they kept saying that, like, nobody was able to find their hideout, which also seemed kind of easy to find. But we'll get there. I personally want to just start because I don't think I've seen Dynomutt and Blue Falcon, like as an episode.
Yeah, like any of their cartoons.
Yeah. So I thought the intro was kind of funny because, you know, we're used to, like, a song, and this one was, he's fearless, he's scareless, and a little too careless. He's a go-go dog person.
But, like, they add the person in at the end.
Yeah,
like,
he's a go dog person. I'm like, oh.
What do you what are your thoughts, though, on those two characters? What do you think of them?
Do you like Dynomutt?
I like the character, you know, just being a dopey, robotic superhero dog. Like, it's cool, it's fun. The fact that he's, like, stupid and a little, like, clumsy and everything, it's fun.
Can I say something?
I just think his voice is annoying.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that you like Dynomutt in the same way you like Scooby-Doo and Roby.
Well, the thing is, I don't have complaints about Roby and Scooby-Doo.
You just don't like Dynomutt's voice.
I don't like Dynomutt's voice. Half the time I have a really hard time understanding him.
Yeah.
I think that's my issue because, like I said, I like the stupid character that is Dynomutt, you know, and it shouldn't be that hard to understand him. He's being voiced by Frank Welker, just like Fred is. So I don't know. I have a hard time understanding him a lot of the time. I'm glad that we watched this episode twice because there were a few points where I was specifically listening to him just to make sure I heard him correctly. But what do you think of Blue Falcon, though? Well, also Dynomutt. I want to hear about your thoughts about him, too.
I don't like the overly stupid characters. That always drives me insane. So, like, when he's just, like... Because he's, like, a robot dog, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. So you would think that he should have some intelligence, and just some of the stuff he does is so stupid, and it's just frustrating. The same way that I get frustrated with Roby. Like, it's frustrating.
What do you think of Blue Falcon?
I don't really have an opinion on him.
In this version of him, I don't really feel like he has all that much of a personality.
No, he really didn't. Like, he did a lot, but he didn't really, like, do much for me.
Like, I feel like I got more personality out of the new Scooby-Doo movie's version of Batman.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I would, like, love watching this cartoon on its own. Not that I've ever seen any of the other cartoons. I think I've seen the crossovers with Scooby-Doo, but I haven't, like, actually just watched the show on its own, like, when it's just the two of them in their own field. But they're just fun. It's interesting just to see how tied in they are with the Scooby Gang, because, like, this isn't going to be the last time we ever see them in the franchise. And I'm just looking at this, I'm just like, I just don't really see all that much of the appeal of at least Blue Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, myself, personally, I like Dynomutt, but...
Well, that's, like, Dynomutt at least had personality. Mm-hmm. Like, he had characteristics to him.
You just don't like those characteristics.
Yeah, I just don't like those characteristics. I'll give them to him, like, he was at least a character. Blue Falcon just seemed like, well, we need an adult, so we're going to throw him in there.
Dynomutt needs an adult.
And, like, he's just going to kind of be there. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, he didn't do much for me.
Can we talk about the fucking narrator of this episode? And I'm wondering, this must just be a Dynomutt Dog Wonder cartoon thing, where...
It was so stupid.
The narrator introduces us to Big City, and...
That's the name of the city, also, is just Big City.
Doesn't bother me as much. I don't know. I think it's just because it's supposed to be, like, a cartoon... parody-ish superhero,
but like
it's not supposed to be Superman or Batman.
But still, like, if they're constantly in this city, which it kind of seems like they might be, I don't know. Like I said, I don't watch Blue Falcon, but I had a feeling that that's kind of like where they were established because they like knew the mayor and everything. But like Superman and Batman, like they have like names to the city. This one's just Big City. Just Big City.
It doesn't bother me as much as it does appear you.
It's just one step of creativity that they could have taken, and they were like, nah, we'll just name it Big City. Or they were just like, well, let's name it Big City, and we'll go back and name it. And then as they were, as the narrator was reading, they were like, oh, shit. Oh, well.
The narrator does say, though, that Bogmire Swamp is, like, the eyesore of this metropolis. And in said swamp lives our villains of the episode, them being Swamp Rat and Mudmouth.
Okay. Swamp Rat looks like a rat.
Hence the name.
Why Mudmouth?
He eats mud.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Given the character that I'm seeing here, which is another, like, stupid, like, sidekick kind of dynamic.
The big dopey guy,
Yeah, he eats mud. That's why he eats mud.
Yep.
So they are operating and living out of a mysterious building.
With mysterious content.
According to the narrator.
Oh, it's stupid.
Like, I'm just watching this going, oh my God, is this going to be the whole episode? And then it kind of was. Yeah. So they're stealing pumps.
He says that, so Swamp Rat says that they're going to steal stuff. Mudmouth asks, is it going to be bikes or TVs? And he goes, no, it's going to be pumps.
Why would they also be stealing the TVs and the bikes?
The pumps are for his big plan. And we don't find out
his super plan.
His super plan.
Yes. But evidently, this is an ongoing problem because what they're doing is they're hopping on the radio while they're on their little swamp boat, and they're tricking delivery truck drivers into, like, driving into the swamp. They're like, okay, just turn right at the gator sign, and then they just drive right into the swamp. They steal the pump off of said truck. But, like, we see probably 8 crashed trucks after the one that we just witnessed being robbed.
Which also gets me because I'll agree that there were
I would say there's probably about 7 or 8 that were already crashed out there.
I'll agree with that number, which is what bugs me because later you only see 5 pumps. And I'm wondering if they just did it for every truck and fucked up a couple of times.
Well, that's where they get the bikes and the TVs.
There you go.
That's why Mudmouth is confused, because sometimes they don't get pumps.
Sometimes they get bikes and TVs.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, like, call the police. Even though you don't know where their little hideout is necessarily, you would think that the owners of these delivery truck, companies would be like, hey, our trucks are being robbed. Call the police. Like, they're waiting instead for Blue Falcon to be coming in and taking care of everything.
Are they letting the drivers go or are they killing them?
They're letting them go. The one that we saw ran away.
So, why wouldn't you just let people know, hey guys, don't turn right at that crossed gator sign?
Why are they even radioing anybody anyway? Shouldn't they just have the address of where they're headed?
Yeah, but truck drivers stay on the radio so that they can be like, hey, there's construction over here, whatever.
Well, I see that, but the thing is, the guy was taking directions from Swamp Rat.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, just a simple, hey guys, stop turning right at that crossed gator sign. Also, why is there just a sign of crossed gators? What the fuck does that mean? Gator crossing, but like more creative? Like, I don't know. That was weird. Mm-hmm. It wasn't on my driver's ed test. I'm just going to stick it there.
So we cut to Dynomutt and Blue Falcon. They're taking a report from a mysterious man that I wrote about in my notes, but then we ended up looking him up after the episode. This man goes by Focus 1. So he's a secret government official who regularly briefs Blue Falcon and Dynomutt on all of their missions. So, like, he's just part of the shadow government in this world, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But he's basically just kind of briefing them on the whole Swamp Rat situation. I'm curious if they have special interests, though.
Well, and also, Focus is written
it's
like
an acronym.
What does it stand for? Did we figure that out?
Let me look on... Nope. Does not say anything. Does not say what it is.
So Focus is just unknown.
I'm looking on the Dynomutt wiki, guys, and I nope, I don't see anything. I just see Focus 1. If any of you are fanatics of Dynomutt Dog Wonder and you'd like to phone in on this topic, please let us know.
I'd like to phone a friend, please.
But they have been informed of the whole situation, so they're now going to execute a plan to try and capture Swamp Rat and Mudmouth now.
So they go to jump into the Falcon Car.
Yeah, the Falcon Car.
And then Dynomutt, like, is about to hop in, and then he's like, oh, fuck, hold on. And he runs back inside the house, and Blue Falcon's just kind of sitting there like, okay. And he comes back with the fucking car engine,
Yes.
And he's like, well, what were you doing with the car engine? And he goes, oh, I was using it for our vacuum.
Yeah, you wanted to see if it would work on the vacuum.
And I'm glad that Blue Falcon asked if it worked, because you were also wondering.
Yeah, I asked the question, and then he asked it. And I was like, at least he asked.
At least he asked. And I mean, we never get a solid answer.
I think he said that it did improve the speed.
Well, he says, have you ever seen a vacuum take like a corner at 95 or something, whatever it was. But like, I don't know if it worked or if it just made the vacuum super fast.
These are the questions. So what they end up doing is they get a delivery truck, and I think they just write like power pumps on the side of the truck so that they can kind of lure in the villains.
They go to Sam's truck rental and rent a fucking truck.
Oh, so they did. I did ask that if they rented or bought it.
So they rent a truck, and then they go to Ace's Sign Painters and get Power Pump Company written on it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a fucking rented truck. Poor Sam.
Right, because he just ends up just crashing it in the swamp, just like Swamp Rat instructs him to do when Dynomutt is talking to the guy on the radio. There's nothing in the truck. Swamp Rat and Mudmouth discover.
He's like, it's empty.
There's not even bikes or TVs in here.
What the fuck? I didn't know an empty truck was an option.
So, yeah, Blue Falcon and Dynomutt pop up and they're like, aha! And the guys just hop on their swamp boat and try to get away. Blue Falcon and Dynomutt hop on like some pontoons like that are built into Dynomutt's feet.
They called it Dino Swamp Pontoons.
Yes. And now they're just racing after them.
This is where the gang comes in.
They're just chilling on a raft, just a wooden raft.
They're just
Where'd
paddling
they get
away.
That shit?
Now they're looking for the Bogmire Swamp Ghost.
Yes.
Which we find out is Swamp Rat and Mudmouth, I guess?
No, I think Blue Falcon just straight up disputes it. He's like, oh, there's no such thing. And then they just let it go. Well, and they're like, okay.
Because he says, I wrote it down, hold on. He says that it's actually hijackers and not a ghost.
Are you sure? I thought that he just said that it wasn't real.
He was like, there's no such thing as a ghost. You're looking for the hijackers. Come help us. And they were like, okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misunderstood.
It was weird because I wrote down, like, how do you get hijackers and ghosts mixed up? Mm-hmm. Like, it was just weird.
Well, this is also after the gang mistakenly trapped them thinking they were the ghosts. So that was annoying, especially when they were, like, in the wooden cage.
And they just walked through it?
They didn't walk through it. They just broke it. They
just
jumped out and they're like, bitch.
Bitch, I can walk through wood too.
Right. I made a note about how when they were back on the raft and we're watching the gang just discuss, you know, how they're going to capture this ghost, there was a close shot of Scooby and we're seeing the background move.
It, like, jumped.
Yeah, like, you see it fluidly moving and then it just suddenly changes. And I'm like, did you see that? I had to rewind it. Like, Shannon and I both rewatched it.
I think that the background, like, hit the end of the reel and then jumped back to the front.
To the beginning.
Yeah. That's kind of what it looked like it did.
It just caught me off guard. I also noted that Daphne was really cross-eyed after Blue Falcon and Dynomutt got out of the cage. I don't know if you saw that.
This is around the time that I think it was back in season 1, we used to bitch about her being cross-eyed all the time.
She was really cross-eyed here.
This is around the time where she used to, like, cross her eyes a lot.
I also felt the need to write down that Velma said criminese, and I didn't like it.
I didn't like that either. I noticed that. So then the gang splits up, and Blue Falcon takes Fred, Daphne, and Velma because they're the useful ones. And then he sticks Shaggy with Dynomutt and Scooby.
This seems like a very...
It's just problematic.
Yeah. This is not going to be a good pair up here.
Blue Falcon flat out tells Dynomutt, too. He's like, if you find the hideout, don't fucking do anything.
Right.
You page me, and I'll fucking be there.
Do nothing.
Like, just fucking stand there. Don't move. And so they split up, and of course, the only thing that I recognized from the Scooby-Doo gang was the part where Shaggy and Scooby find the hideout before the rest of the gang.
Well, this is because Dynomutt and Scooby can't agree on which direction to go, and they end up popping their raft that because now they're in like a blow-up raft.
Oh, yeah, everybody has rafts.
Yes, everybody does, even the villains.
Yeah.
Even the villains.
Always have a backup raft.
But don't ever trust a backup. I remember Big Earl's advice.
We live by that shit.
Right. So, yeah, they end up hopping their raft and they end up, flying through the air, normal cartoon antics in that regard. But they do land where the mysterious building is with mysterious content.
Shaggy refers to it as a motel for monsters.
Is that what he called it?
Yes!
I love that.
And I was like, oh.
So they orchestrate this plan where Shaggy and Scooby pretend to be termite inspectors. While they're distracting Swamp Rat and Mudmouth, Dynomutt is slipping in through the window to take pictures of Swamp Rat's super plan that he has, mapped out on some blueprints or whatever on the table.
Now, Dynomutt has turned into a candid camera.
Yes, his nose, I think, is the lens, and I think his ears are like the flash or something. And the flash catches the bad guy's attention. They all end up getting captured, tied up, and Dynomutt basically brags about how, oh, you've captured us, but with this signal, I'll be able to signal Blue Falcon, and he'll be here to save us. And I'm like, don't tell them that.
Okay, the note I made for this was that Dynomutt is as stupid as any bad guy in any movie. Bad guys always tell you their story, but instead Dynomutt did. Dynomutt's stupid.
Well, it turns out that Swamp Rat's okay with Blue Falcon coming because he figures then Blue Falcon and their friends will pop up and they'll capture them too.
And they did.
Yes, they very much successfully did so. I feel like Blue Falcon and the rest of the gang could have very easily gotten out of the net that they had been captured in because it didn't go all the way around them. It just lifted their raft from beneath. So they could have jumped out.
Also,
doesn't Blue Falcon have a jetpack? He could have just...
That's what I'm saying. This whole thing was kind
of
problematic, too, because when it lifts off the raft, right, the next time we see them all, they're in a net. So, how did the two guys get all 7 of them in a net together? How?
I don't like how he, got Shaggy, Scooby, and Dynomutt into the net, and now the net's just chilling on top of this tree.
That's 3 stories
up. Supported by nothing. But
No.
It's supported by nothing. It's not being held up by anything. It's just kind of like a ball of net wire chilling on top of a tree.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
Yep.
And the overall plan is the tree that they're sitting on is being chopped away by this trained beaver that the bad guys just have for reasons. And when the tree comes down, the gang is going to land in the swamp water, and the alligators that are now surrounding this tree are going to eat them.
Basically.
The bad guys leave to orchestrate their plan, and while their tree is being chomped, to bits, they manage to actually get a hold of the tree right next to them, and the beaver then goes to chop down that tree, and Dynomutt very, actually cleverly, uses them as stilts to escape the entire swamp. So that was pretty resourceful, I think.
Yes. My issue, though, is that if Dynomutt's legs can go that long, then why not just stick them through the holes of the net and fucking walk away?
I didn't think about that. You're right.
Why do the whole stilt thing?
Could he support them?
He does with the stilts, though.
But the trees are there to support it, though. He's only holding onto the trees.
I guess. But
yeah.
Technically, the net would still be, pulling him.
Yeah.
And at least if he was walking, he could have all 4 paws rather than just 2, holding on to 2 trees.
You're right. Whatever.
So Swamp Rat and Mudmouth take the 5 pumps, and they say that they put 1 pump in each sewer, and so
of Big City.
So there's 5 5 separate sewers
in
for
total.
one big city. I don't know, that was weird. So they take them, and then they start just pumping the swamp, which indicates to me that the sewers go into the swamp, so that swamp is just filled with shit. I'm very confused about that.
Yes, but what they're ultimately doing is pulling, according to the premise, it says half the water. So they're pulling half of the swamp out of the swamp, and they're just pumping it into the city itself, causing a mass flood, which, goes up probably 2-3 stories on some buildings. This is no
Yeah, this isn't
You
just
know,
a
this
thing.
is no average flood. Like, this is something to brag about here. That's a lot of fucking water. It's a big city. That's why it's named that.
What got me, though, when they were standing in the mayor's office, it was only thigh deep.
Maybe it's on the second floor.
I know. And then they come out, and when we see Swamp Rat and Mudmouth, and they're, like, clearing out a coat closet or something, and the water is, like, up to a street light. And then you see this mall, and the water is, like, on the first floor, but then also a whole bunch of water, like, rushes down from the elevator, which indicates that maybe there's water on the second floor. But how did it get there, and why isn't it all the way up?
The flooding's inconsistent is the point. It's really unclear, like, what parts are, what parts aren't.
Maybe, like,
underwater.
this city is very hilly. It's, like, full of hills. And so at some parts, it's very deep, and at other parts, it's not so deep.
I don't know much about Big City other than the fact that it's big, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Then we get this fucking lady.
Yes, this is after the whole group has split up for a bit, so they're just trying to catch sight of Swamp Rat and Mudmouth. This lady is screaming for help. She is sitting, floating on a doghouse.
I also want to point out, too, that there was a mass evac, right?
Oh, yeah. This city evacuated. Quick.
And the only reason we see the mayor is because he's playing some game of, like, the man or the captain goes down with his ship.
Yeah, that's what he told the governor. Yeah, because I guess the governor called.
Yeah, he was like, bro, maybe leave. So the mayor and this fucking lady are the only people left. There's no, like, National Guard. There's no police officers. There's
firefighters.
Yeah, there's no rescue.
Emergency response.
Yeah, no rescue helpers at all. Just everybody fucking left.
Everybody.
Except for the mayor and this fucking lady.
And, yeah, this lady's just chilling, screaming for life on the doghouse. And then Mudmouth just attaches a motor to the doghouse, being like, haha, so now Dynomutt and Blue Falcon have to come and rescue you, so they can't come and capture us.
Also, who just carries around a random fucking motor?
Them.
Always have a backup motor.
But never trust a backup. Yeah. I also just made a quick note that the swamp has a lot of alligators.
Yeah.
Because there were like 2 alligators that came pouring out of that elevator we see.
And then we saw like 1 or 2 when they first showed that the swamp was in the city.
And we also see like 1 or 2 at the end of the episode too. Like, there's a lot of alligators in this city.
And as they're pumping it out is when the gang is stuck in that net. And we see like 5 to 7 alligators ready to eat them. Mm-hmm. So a lot of fucking alligators.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, isn't unnatural for a swamp. Probably of that size. There's probably a lot more.
I just don't like how many got sucked up in these pumps.
I noted that earlier, too, is that those have to be some real powerful pumps.
Yeah.
Like fish, I get. Alligators? Weird.
Well, they even managed to get birds in there, too.
I noted that because I don't know if the birds got sucked up or if they were like, oh, our swamp is moving. We'll just come over here.
I'm sorry if this story sounds so convoluted, guys, but it is.
It just is, yeah.
It's so hard to talk about. I did note that Dynomutt and Blue Falcon have to save the woman because the motorized doghouse she's riding on goes airborne, flies out a window, and now she's hanging for dear life on a flagpole. Dynomutt just releases this giant trampoline, and he's just like, you can let go and fall down to this.
Like, we got you.
Well, she does, and then he ends up going in the water with her.
So how can he support the 7 people in a net but can't support 1 lady in a trampoline?
Right. Well, then I like when he goes in the water. Like with this civilian, Blue Falcon is only concerned about Dog Wonder because he's just like, Dynomutt, are you okay? He doesn't ask about the lady.
And the
but
lady
like, when they
also
come
isn't
up,
concerned about herself.
Right, because she comes up with him and she's just like, oh, he's fine. He'll just need a warm bath and a warm glass of milk. He'll be as good as new. And I'm assuming they just left her there because you don't see her again.
She got eaten.
But, like, the next scene we see is the duo meeting up with the rest of the gang. So, I guess she just stayed chilling in the water.
Yeah, she got ate.
Can we talk about the costume pod?
Derek, always have a backup.
Basically, the gang orchestrates this plan where Shaggy and Scooby are going to disguise themselves as Blue Falcon and Dynomutt. While luring in the bad guys to steal these gold statues of Ben Franklin and George Washington, they see the heroes fleeing the scene. That way they think, oh, the coast is clear. They can steal the statues and then dip. When actually Blue Falcon and Dynomutt will be there to capture them. Blue Falcon has just like these little pods. Like they're like the size of pills. But when he claps on them, they become full-fledged Dynomutt and Blue Falcon costumes. And I think Shannon and I both like simultaneously like jumped in like a gasp. Like, what the fuck did we just see?
Both of us were just like...
We were laughing for a few minutes. Like, I was just... It happened so quick, and I didn't know what they were.
No.
I had no idea what those were going to be, and it turns out it's just full-fledged costumes.
Because he doesn't say, like, oh, hey, I have these costume pods. He just goes, oh, here, use this.
But the amazing thing is their plan works.
It was such a stupid plan. I didn't want it to work.
That's
like,
a good plan.
They didn't look at... You put some random guy and a dog in the same costume as you and it. Like, Shaggy and Blue Falcon look nothing alike.
Oh, yeah, but from afar and at nighttime it works.
All right.
And they're also in the Falcon Car.
Okay. I'll accept it. What were those gold statues?
Yeah, the villains came into the convention center, I think this happens at.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, there they are. And then Blue Falcon and Dynomutt just like pick them up and they're like, they look like costumes or just something. Like, they're floppy. I guess that's what I would describe them on. They're floppy. But then they also just disappear in the next cut. But what were they? I have no idea.
Because at first they looked like they could be like stand-up dolls or something. Like blow-ups maybe. But once they pick them up, they're costumey.
Regardless of like what they were, how did they acquire these things so quick?
Maybe they were pods on his belt. Maybe
just in case.
Yeah, maybe he just carries around gold statue blow-ups just in case.
Just in case.
I don't know.
When Swamp Rat and Mudmouth like realize what's going on, they try to escape. Well, Mudmouth does because he just spontaneously has a raft. he was ditching his partner.
He just dipped out.
Yeah, he's like rowing away while Swamp Rat's like swimming. Dynomutt and Blue Falcon are like, okay, well now it's time to fly. Blue Falcon suddenly just conjures a jetpack. Like, in one frame, it's not there, and then in the next, it is.
Why haven't they been flying this whole time?
I know. Because then Dynomutt has, like, a built-in helicopter. Where were these this entire time?
You know, right before we saw the gang, they had little pontoon things, and they were, like, hitting trees, and like they could have been fucking flying that whole fucking time. Or, hey, when you're stuck in a fucking net, you could have just fucking flown away.
So Dynomutt is now hovering over Mudmouth as he's rowing in his raft. And I wrote this quote that Dynomutt says. He says, they don't call me Big Plunger for nothing. Because he turns his paws into plungers and then, like, attaches them to the boat and just lifts them up in the air.
I also don't think he's ever been called Big Plunger.
And if he has, I want to know the context.
I wouldn't want that as my nickname.
Who would?
Also, Mudmouth forfeits real quickly.
I mean, once you're airborne in your backup raft, which you shouldn't trust in the first place, what is there to do?
He's terrified. Like, he looks shook.
Well, he already has said before he was even captured that, like, if he can get back to the swamp, he won't ever come back to Big City again.
He's like, I'm done. I'm not ever leaving home. Yeah.
Bikes and TVs are not worth it, man. And then Blue Falcon has, like, claw feet that he uses to just pick up Swamp Rat out of the water.
I said Blue Falcon has real falcon feet.
And I think he needs to use those more, like the jetpacks.
Yep.
I think those could have come in handy a long time ago.
Okay, so here's my thought. Again, we're going to go back to that fucking net, okay? Okay. All right. So, at one point we see Scooby, like, hanging out of the net, so it's indicated that there's a hole big enough that Blue Falcon could have squeezed through it, while flying, grabbed his falcon feet, grabbed the net, and fucking flown away to save everybody. But you're not ready to have that conversation yet.
The episode basically ends with Focus 1, that secret government shady dude.
That we never really get introduced to, by the way.
No, they don't ever say his name or anything, but he tells Blue Falcon and Dynomutt basically the gist of just what happened is like they saved the day, woohoo, and the gang is like yay, and Blue Falcon's like we couldn't have done it without you, and I'm like you really could have, and and Dynomutt is like well let's celebrate in the pool, so they all hop out to the pool, and the pool is filled with swamp water and gators and birds and frogs because from what Blue Falcon says he thinks that the swamp backed up into their pool.
Yeah,
because that's great, love that for them.
So what did the gang actually do? Like, that's a conversation I want to have.
They were in search of a ghost. Scooby and Shaggy dressed up as the superheroes. That's really all I think they contributed. Yeah. I don't think they really did anything else, in my opinion.
No. The only thing that was actually helpful towards Blue Falcon and Dynomutt were the fact that there was a guy and a dog that could pretend to be them for half a second.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't really feel like this crossover was all that warranted. And it makes me kind of weary to watch the other two at some point.
Yeah.
Because we do have 2 other Dynomutt Dog Wonder episodes that do contain a crossover with the gang.
I think Blue Falcon fits in better in the Scooby-Doo universe than the Scooby-Doo gang does in Blue Falcon's. Like when...
Yeah, because there was a movie just a couple years back. It was Scooby-Doo... Batman, Brave and the Bold, I think it was. It's where they're in Gotham City and they're helping Batman like solve some kind of a crime or something like that. And it's just one of those things where like, yeah, I don't think the gang is really all that useful outside of the ghost hunting business. But I like when I see Batman or Blue Falcon or whoever the superhero is like teaming up with them.
Yeah.
You're right. Like if it's in the gang's home turf, it's fine. Not that the episode will be great. You know, we watched Dynamic Scooby-Doo Affair and that was fucking awful. But you do have a point. I hear you there.
Yeah.
So, Shannon, I hesitantly ask, like, what do you want to rate this on the Scooby Snackometer? I feel like I'm having a similar issue with this as I am when we had to rate Shaggy Busted.
Because it's not a normal Scooby-Doo episode. It's not a
Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah, it's not a Scooby-Doo episode at all. And so it's hard because it doesn't follow like that Scooby-Doo format that we know. You know, it doesn't end with a Scooby-Dooby-Doo or anything like that. Also, I don't, you know, like I said, I don't watch Dynomutt and Blue Falcon like as a show, so I don't know if this is a normal episode for them or if this was a bad episode for them.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I guess just judge it from the context of I guess the Scooby-Doo perspective. This is hard to say.
Because in that instance, I hate to say it, but I want to give it like a 2.
I think I'm going to give it a 3. Because again, I can't really say if this is a good or a bad Dynomutt episode, but I'm not very welcoming of it being Scooby-Doo canon.
Yeah.
Because
the gang didn't do anything.
Yeah, they didn't do anything, and I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't love it. From a Scooby-Doo perspective, it's not a good Scooby-Doo episode. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm going to go with. Is it might be a great Blue Falcon episode. It's not a good Scooby-Doo episode.
I agree. So you're going to give it a 2, you say?
I think I'm going to go with a 2.
I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
That was tough. That was a tough rating, I think.
Yeah. Like, I feel bad because I'm like, it just wasn't great.
Maybe one of these nights we'll just watch a couple more of the Dynomutt.
And just see.
Not that I'll change the rating as a result, but just to kind of see what the rest of this show is like.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Because if that's what a Blue Falcon Dynomutt show is,
I would be very comfortable keeping it where I have it currently rated. Yeah.
And I mean, if this is a bad episode, like I'm still fine keeping the rating, but then I at least will feel bad that, like, the gang ruined an episode for them.
The gang's fault.
Like, that's what I'm curious is, did the gang ruin it, or is it just a bad show to begin with?
Right. Well, with your 2 and my 3, that Groovy Scoobcast is awarding The Wizard of Ooze a 2.5 out of 10 on the Scooby Snackometer.
I'm okay
There
with
were
that.
no wizards or oozes.
No oozes. No oozes, no wizards, just swamp.
The fun fact I have for the week is related to these kind of crossovers as well. I think we had a few episodes ago where I talked about Dynomutt's relationship with Scooby-Doo. This is the 3rd and final time that Scooby-Doo crossed over with Dynomutt in this series. So there were 2 other ones previous to this in the Dynomutt Dog Wonder cartoon. Mm-hmm. And aside from the Laugh Olympics, they did not team up with Dynomutt and Blue Falcon again until August of 2012. when they appeared in a Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated episode, that being The Heart of Evil.
I get it.
It had been a minute.
Because, I mean, honestly, if I was like, who should they team up with? And I looked at everyone they had ever teamed up with and saw this episode, I'd be like, yeah, you're good.
Well, like I said, I like the idea of these characters. And I probably said this before when we talked about our fun fact, about Dynomutt before. But I like these characters being part of the Scooby-Doo universe. I will reiterate, Blue Falcon doesn't have much of a personality at all, but Dynomutt's fun for me, and I think he melds well with Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's the thing, like, they seem like they would vibe well together.
Mm-hmm.
At least Dynomutt. Again, I'll agree with you on Blue Falcon. I don't really know about him, but they vibe well together.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, this episode just didn't do it for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving on from our special topic, next week is going to be our movie watch of the season.
Woohoo!
We will be inviting a third Scoobcaster on to talk with us about this movie. Pretty excited to have someone else in the mix again.
These are always really fun for us.
I think so. Would you like to randomize what movie we'll be watching this season?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
The movie we will be watching is Scooby-Doo Abracadabra Doo.
Okay. This is one I haven't watched many times, I don't think.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Well, let's see. Here's a premise for the episode coming from Scoobypedia. The gang go on a trip to check on Madeline, Velma's younger sister, at Whirlin' Merlin's Academy of Magic, where apparently there has been some trouble of a giant griffin scaring all the students away.
Whirlin' Merlin?
Yes.
I'm going to hate that.
We will see. I'm curious to see what our guest Scoobcaster will say about it.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, that is what we'll be watching next week, guys. In Scooby-Doo news, I just want to remind everyone again about the Scooby-Doo run. It's going to be that virtual run where you can basically do it for a cause. You get some pretty cool Scooby swag out of it. Shannon and I are participating. We're excited. The charity that it's all going towards is the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So definitely go and check that out if you're interested. You can visit www.scoobydoorun.com for more information as well as to register.
You guys should definitely do it. Share your pictures. Like Derek said, we're both going to do it. It's going to be really fun. We'll be sharing, our pictures and everything together. So come join us.
Indeed. If you would like to visit our social media, we are on Facebook at That Groovy Scoobcast, Twitter at Groovy Scoobcast, Tumblr at That Groovy Scoobcast, and Instagram at That Groovy Scoobcast.
You can also shoot us an email at thatgroovyscoobcast@gmail.com or check out our website, www.thatgroovyscoobcast.com.
And with that, we hope that you enjoyed That Groovy Scoobcast.
Come back next week for Scooby Snack Filled Time.
Bye, guys.
Bye!